Would you like to learn about architectural decision records? If so, this video is for you. In this video, we will cover what are architectural decision records. I'll give you some best practices on maintaining and creating architectural decision records. And I'll talk about why we create architectural decision records as cloud architects, enterprise architects, or any architect for that matter. So to begin with, what is an architectural decision record? Well, it's a very simple, usually one-page document that explains architecturally significant choices. So what is the context around the architecture that we did? What were the options we considered? And what did we ultimately decide? With the explanation of the rationales and also looking at what actually happened after we actually created this architecture. So it gives us something to very quickly look at and say, here's what we were trying to do. Here's where all the things we considered, and here's what happened. Now, as a general rule, we're only going to write these ADRs, or these architectural decision records, for things that actually move an outcome or a non-functional requirement. So they affected the business somehow in a positive way. Now, we may create them for security. We may create them for resilience. It could be things like compliance or data boundaries or even the vendor platforms we chose and why. But we're creating them for things that are architecturally significant. Now, every architectural decision record, typically speaking, will have an owner and a life cycle. Which means even if we create an architectural decision record, when we change directions or go in another way, we don't throw out that architectural decision record. We supersede the old record with a new one, but we're never deleting the history. So we constantly want to know what we did, why we did it, and what were the ultimate outcomes of why we did it. So if it didn't work, we don't want to use it again, or if one of those decisions didn't work, so we never want to go back and erase history. And the key is we're putting evidence in these architectural decision makers. So we're going to link benchmarks, experiments, any risk analysis we did, any trade-off analysis and tables we may have created or diagrams. So someone looking at it can really say, okay, in less than a minute or so, I understand what happened. And that's the point. We're trying to create a single source of truth for the why. And by doing so, it'll give you a significant benefits later, like accelerating onboarding and a few things, which we'll talk about. So the key here is to remember that every ADR, or architectural decision mapper, is going to map to a capability, a standard, and some form of objective and key result. So we have a clear context of the architectural choices and the business's intent. So if I can give you some best practices on creating and maintaining architectural decision records, the first thing is don't create an architectural decision record for everything. Create it for something that's architecturally significant. So if it moves a non-functional requirement in a good way, create one. Something to that point. So keep everything else in ordinary design documents. Now, to not make these burdensome, try to create a lightweight template and keep using that template. Keep it short. Almost like the title of it, the status of what happened, the context of what was going on, the decision, and maybe even the consequences. Something fairly quick like that. Don't erase history, because otherwise it'll repeat itself. Now, typically speaking, with these ADRs or architectural decision records, you want to distribute ownership. So anyone on the team can author one. But the owner will shepherd their thing through to acceptance. But the point is, you can't put all this burden on a single person. And we want to make sure that these architectural decision records are findable. And somehow we have to catalog them or tag them by domain or product or subsystem or non-functional requirement. We need to be able to find them quickly. And we typically want to attach proof and benchmarks or whatever we have after the fact. Now, why are we creating these architectural decision records? Well, it does a few things. It facilitates much faster decisions. And that way we're not debating the same common things on and on again, because we've already got something, we've looked at it, we've standardized it. It typically helps a lot when we want to onboard new architects or onboard new executives, when there's an actual architectural repository and there's a history with architectural decision records. And that way the user gets the why. Why did we make these decisions? Not just the what decision did we make. Typically speaking, If we've got very good decision records and very good things, we typically lower our costs. And that's a great thing. So we want to make sure that we do this in a manner that helps with auditing. Maybe we align our architectural decision records with some ISO standard or IEEE standard, for example, or whatever we're actually dealing with. And it gives the organization a lot of memory. That way, if executives change or architects change, we know where we've been. So I really hope you've enjoyed this video on architectural decision records, ADRs, as you may also hear them called. And if you'd like to become an enterprise architect or a cloud architect or an AI architect or a security architect or any other kind of architect for that matter, please join me on a free architecture webinar. I hold 2 of these each week, and in these webinars, we'll go over the role. We'll talk about what we do as the various types of architects. We'll talk about the skills you need for, say, an enterprise architect versus a cloud architect versus, say, a security architect. And these free architecture webinars are live and free on Zoom. We run usually 2 per week, so sign up for a free architecture webinar. The link is in the description of this video. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe to our channel, hit the bell to be notified of new videos, and share the word with your friends and other people that you think would benefit from learning enterprise architecture, cloud architecture, security architecture, or AI architecture. Well, this is Mike Gibbs signing off for now. I'll be back in another video real soon, and I hope to see you in a free architecture webinar. Take care, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you soon.